All right, in office hours today, we talked about transitive and intransitive verbs. So I wanted to make a video which I'm using a different PowerPoint than I did in office hours, and it gives just another look at transitive and intransitive verbs. If you were in office hours and you understood all of that, you don't have to watch this one. If you were not in office hours, or if you were in office hours today, and you still had some questions about transitive and intransitive verbs, and this PowerPoint may help you to, um, to get a better idea. So first, we're going to talk about transitive verbs. When a verb expresses action, something or someone in the predicate receives that action. That is what happens with a transitive verb. I'm going to say that again. So when we have a verb that expresses action, something or someone in the predicate has to receive that action in order for it to be a transitive verb. So let's look at these two examples here. Paul hit the ball over the fence. The subject of this sentence would be Paul, and our verb, our action verb, is hit. And what did he hit? He hit the ball. So ball is our direct object because the word that is receiving the action is called the direct object. Let's look at another example. The crowd cheered the batter. The crowd cheered. Cheered is our transitive verb, and the word that is receiving the action, who or what did the crowd cheer? They cheered the batter. So batter is our direct object. Batter is receiving the action cheered. All right. So a verb, as we've just said, a verb that sends its action to a noun or a pronoun is called a transitive verb. And the noun or the pronoun that receives the action is called the direct object. So here are two more sentences. The crowd applauded the players. Applauded is our action verb, and the noun or the pronoun that is receiving that action is the players. So the crowd applauded who or what? The players. So players is the direct object of the transitive verb applauded. People screamed at the pitcher. People is our subject. Screamed is our action verb. And who or what did they scream at? They screamed at the pitcher. So pitcher is the direct object of the transitive verb screamed, because pitcher is receiving the action. Who did they scream at? They screamed at the pitcher. Now, not all verbs are transitive. So a verb that does not send its action to a word is called an intransitive verb. Let's look at an example of a transitive verb and an example of an intransitive verb. First, we'll look at transitive. The crowd cheered the batter. Crowd is our subject, cheered is our action verb, and who or what did they cheer? They cheered the batter. That is our direct object, batter. So that one is transitive. This next example is an intransitive verb. It has a verb that does not send its action to a noun or a pronoun. People cheered wildly. People is our subject. Cheered is our action verb. And if we ask ourselves, well, cheered what or who? There is no what or who. There is a how, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a what or a who. So this one is an intransitive verb because it is not transferring cheered to something else in the predicate. You always want to ask who or what. And that will help you to answer, if there is an answer to that question, that will help you to know whether it is transitive or intransitive. So if we look at this first sentence, my dad jumped high. So dad jumped who or dad jumped what? That doesn't make any sense. There is nothing else, no part of the predicate is receiving the action, so this is an intransitive verb. Our next example, last year, students jumped the gate. So students jumped who or students jumped what? Oh, students jumped the gate. So that is a transitive verb because gate is receiving the action from jumped. A sixth grader jumped a grade. Our subject of this sentence is sixth grader. The action verb is jumped, and jumped who or jumped what? Jumped a grade. So grade is receiving the action from jumped. So that is also a transitive verb. Now, linking verbs are always intransitive because they do not express action. So here's some examples of sentences with linking verbs. The Ravens are the winners. Are is our linking verb. It is linking the subject of the sentence to the predicate of the sentence, and it is intransitive. No one is receiving the action because there is not an action to receive. They seem triumphant about their victory. They is the subject of this sentence, and seem is linking they to the rest of the predicate. Also, intransitive. The team is in first place now. Team is our subject, is our linking verb, and it is team is being linked to the rest of the predicate, is in first place now. There is no action to receive, and so therefore this is an intransitive verb. All right, let's look at a couple examples. Mrs. Bustamante teaches us geometry. The verb here is teaches. Teaches is an action verb, so we ask ourselves, teaches us who or teaches us what? And we see that teaches us what, the answer is geometry. So this is a transitive verb, and geometry is the direct object of the transitive verb teaches. Here's another example. We draw circles with a compass and also study angles. So this sentence has two verbs, draw and study. We draw, well, what do we draw? We draw circles. So the verb draw is transitive. Circles is the circles is the direct object of the verb draw. We look at our other one. We also study angles. Study is our action verb. We ask ourselves, who or what do we study? Well, the answer is we study angles. So angles is the direct object of the transitive verb study. I don't know if you guys could hear that. My cat just meowed. All right, a right angle has 90 degrees. A right angle has 90 degrees. We ask ourselves, a right angle has what? And the answer is 90 degrees. So degrees is the direct object of the verb has. That one is also transitive. A 180-degree angle is a straight angle. A 180-degree angle is who or what? This one says a 180-degree angle is a straight line. Well, who or what is a straight line? We can't answer that. It would just take us back to 180 degrees. And so this word is, which is a linking verb and doesn't have an action to it, is intransitive. Math becomes interesting with Mrs. Bustamante for a teacher. We have the linking verb becomes, and it doesn't have a direct object because this verb is intransitive. All right, so just to go over what we said in this video, a transitive verb expresses action that is received by a noun or a pronoun. An intransitive verb does not have an object that receives the action. The noun or the pronoun that receives the action is called a direct object. And linking verbs are always intransitive verbs. Just ignore that part. There's no assignment that's going to go along with this except for your IXL. So please make sure that you have done your IXL assigned for this week. I believe that it is BB2 and BB3. Have a great night, and if you have more questions about transitive and intransitive verbs, try the IXL first because that practice will help you, but then send me an email, let me know, and we can go over that more, and I can answer questions. Have a great day, everybody.